There are two important things that we need to look back at, both of which are actually playing out perfectly. This is showing us exactly what's taking place right now. But there's one other thing I want to reference back to as well, because this chart was showing us this potential next huge leg across the crypto market. A lot of people have been waiting for a specific announcement, but they don't realize that that news may actually do something else to the chart. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So when we're looking at ADA right now it's about 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. US money still is not woken up yet. For those that aren't familiar, I film most of my videos in the morning, but I really wanted to talk about this now because we have been tracking this trend for ADA here for quite some time now. And this is exactly what we were talking about, this kind of sideways trading, this chop right up until about this time frame. So this actually isn't really surprising that the market is starting to heat up now, because this is what it was actually pointing towards. Now, this is a trend actually from last summer. Obviously, it's not 100% perfect. You guys can see there have been times where ADA was above here, times where ADA has been below here, but you guys can see this has all been leading us to this moment that ADA wants to make this massive push to the upside. And I think that really that removal of supply from exchanges like we've been talking about, the short interest above here, is going to make ADA do some pretty exciting things in terms of price that people aren't anticipating. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees. Nobody knows what's going to happen for sure. But what I also found very interesting was just kind of looking back at this BTC chart. There was a trend that we actually laid on top of here, and I hope that this doesn't happen, this drop down in terms of Bitcoin. But we had actually been talking about BTC following this exact trend. So this stuff isn't really surprising. I can't remember what timeline this was from exactly, but we have basically seen this exact same stuff play out before, and it's following it to perfection. And that brings me to this. There is something we've been talking about in terms of BTC and breakouts across the crypto space that has started happening maybe about a week and a half ago or so. And this was this breakout versus the stock market. And when we look back throughout this market cycle, there have been 1, 2, 3 specific points of breakout where assets went on big runs. You guys can see this taking place in October of 2023, start of the bull market cycle. Here again in February of 2024. Obviously, we know what happened in terms of ADA and the overall crypto market at that point. And then once again in November of 2024 as well, which we obviously know ADA went on a massive run there as well. So this did in fact start back right at the end of March. So we've been about 3 weeks into this formation currently. And what this may in fact be indicating is, yes, we are about to have this next massive leg across the crypto space. Now, this isn't a guarantee. Things don't have to play out perfectly, right? But history tends to be on our side here. There is this inverse correlation that occasionally occurs against the stock market, and that is when crypto rips. That is when it runs hard. And then we have the potential of a lot of this other data, a lot of this other news actually being accelerant for our move to the upside. We start to go on a run this week and things are looking good. Let's say we hit next week and we get a good PC report. Boom, more fuel for the fire. Then we get a good GDP report, which I'm on the fence about that yet, but boom, we get more run. Good FOMC meeting. Boom. I mean, all these things can just cause the market to just turn into these massive green candles that people aren't anticipating. People talking about needing quantitative easing or needing interest rate decreases. This is why I've said I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the market's just going to run when it is ready to run, when the confidence starts to re-enter the market. What is really going to be interesting then is, do we hit points that are good enough, prices that are high enough for adoption to take place? In fact, when we look back at the total market cap of crypto, I want to remind people, all right, since this time, there has been a lot of capital re-enter the market. In fact, since that time, we currently have enough capital to get somewhere in the $4.5 to $5 trillion range in terms of the total market cap of crypto. And what we've even seen over the last 24 hours is more minting of stables, more minting of stables. There's a lot of capital that, frankly, has entered the crypto market and positioned itself on the sidelines, but has yet to buy. It's kind of been waiting for that moment across the crypto space where it's confident enough to do that. And we might, in fact, be entering a point where where that capital, in fact, has to chase price. Okay. That's not a guarantee, but this is me speculating. All right. The capital doesn't just move into the market just to sit there and do nothing. It wants to be in assets. It wants to participate in the runs. What we haven't even seen take place yet is a lot of the speculators start to re-enter the market. All right. So they're not buying at the lows. Where do they buy? They buy in the middle. Okay. They're part of the reason why these runs start to accelerate, why these candles, in fact, get so big. It's because they're buying kind of right in here. They're waiting for confirmations, right? In terms of ADA, when we start to make this move, this is probably the range that they're buying in on our run to new cycle highs. Okay. Now, nobody knows where price is going to head for sure or when this is all going to take place, but this is something that happens time after time after time again. It's not a surprising thing. So people shouldn't really be surprised that this is taking place. Now, again, I'm trying not to get too excited about, some overnight moves, a 3.6% candle in terms of ADA. But what we're again starting to see is a lot of these things aligning perfectly. They're showing us the path that the market wants to head on. And I think as long as we're not getting, black swan events, as long as we're not getting other major negative news announcements, stuff like that, we should be in a pretty good spot for the market to make these breakouts. We keep talking about during this time, the market wasn't really conducive for an overall breakout. We've now entered the time where the market is conducive for an overall breakout. And the big question is just, will it? Will this continue? Will we continue to see these massive legs? And guys, it's getting to be a higher and higher likelihood now. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.